Sunday is Hollywood's biggest night of the year, the Oscars. The Academy Awards show has faced a lot of criticism over lack of diversity, and this year is sure to be no different. In the 4 acting categories, only 1 out of 20 nominees is a person of color, Cynthia Erivo. Boo Joon-ho, the South Korean creator of the film Parasite, is the only non-white person nominated for Best Director. None of the nominations for Best Director went to a woman. Rashad Robinson is the president of Color of Change. He joins us live now. So here's the thing about Hollywood that I don't get, and I'm hoping you can explain to me. We've seen some positive sort of incremental changes in the past, whether it's Black Panther or Crazy Rich Asians. Those sort of movies seem to do so well, and everyone says, wow, you know, Hollywood is finally going to change. It's going to open up its doors to minorities. And then you get a year like this where the acting categories are almost completely white nominees. Why isn't change in Hollywood, why hasn't it been in a straight line?
It's such a good question. And Hollywood is an industry. It's a corporate industry like so many other industries. And so if you don't change the underlying structures, the sort of rules of engagement, if you don't put systems to have transparency, if you don't continue to cultivate how the rules are playing out, yes, you will have blips along the way where things seem like they're getting better, only for the status quo to sort of realign itself. And the Oscars, like all the award shows across the industry, are designed for those who are already have already won inside the industry, who are already powerful. The voting bodies of these industries are not diverse. They are filled with people who won under different rules. And then they reward themselves or reward people who are like them. You know, in the Oscars, for instance, they're not even required to watch all of the content that they're voting on.
So Joaquin Phoenix gave a great speech at the BAFTAs where he said, listen, we give a very obvious message that if you're Black or if you're a person of color, you're clearly not welcome in this industry. While I really admired the speech, talk is not going to change anything. What can prominent white actors like Joaquin Phoenix actually do?
Well, there's been a number of things. Well, first, they can be very clear and transparent about salaries and have conversations on set about, you know, who's making what. They can, you know,
I wonder if they're going to do that, though.
But, you know, we've seen some really clear stories with Octavia Spencer actually calling out that folks Jessica did that for her. And so there's been stories of white actors stepping up and male actors at times stepping up for women actors. You know, the other things that Hollywood can do is they can start publishing their own diversity numbers and start tracking it. They can put forward really public goals about where they want to go, the studios and the industry. The Oscars as a whole has to become more transparent and really deal with the rules. When industries have actually dealt with, in serious ways, diversity, they've done it because they've actually put forward real benchmarks. They've been public about those benchmarks. They've given the public an ability to actually judge whether they've been successful. If anything short of that is like charitable solutions to structural problems.
So do you think it's important that we see people of color nominated in the acting category specifically? Because some people might say, well, you know, there were other minorities nominated in other categories. Why is the acting category so important?
Well, it's important because when folks get nominated, it provides them more opportunity to be seen. It provides them more opportunity for the next role. It gets new things greenlit. You know, we deal with a country where our content, our Hollywood images are one of our biggest exports worldwide. The images that we send around the world shape how people see us, how people think about us. You know, we just actually did a study with USC on crime TV shows and looked at the role that crime TV shows in really helping to shape people's understanding of the criminal justice system. For the last 20 years in the United States, violent crime has steadily went down, but Americans think it's gone up. And if you look at the content that people are seeing on TV, who gets represented, who gets to write those stories, what you see are stories that are told not through the framework of community, but through the framework of law enforcement. And so who gets to tell the stories, who gets seen, has a deep impact on the written rules. And that is why it's so important. It's also important to the economy of who gets opportunities for jobs. And so we're having a real conversation, not just a fluffy Hollywood one, about the economy and about justice.
Economy, justice, and culture overall. Rashad Robinson, thank you so much for being with us.